Here is what the latest research is showing about habit. If you understand the cue, the trigger, you understand the habit, and you understand the reward, all you have to do is change the behavior. Even though you've got the cue, change the behavior long enough, you'll still get the reward, but you'll do something different. If you change the behavior long enough, that's all you really need to be concerned with. So if there is a behavior and you're aware of the cue and you're aware of the reward, if you change just the middle piece, keep the bookends, the cue and the reward, change the behavior through a little walk instead of coffee.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because I need them. Because I don't always wake up and feel motivated to go take on the day. And the thing that saves me, that helps me every day, is being around people who are thinking bigger, who are changing the world, and it gives me a little more inspiration to go after my mission. And so I hope this video helps you go after yours today too. So today, let's learn from one of the best, John Assaraf, and my take on his top 10 rules to success. Enjoy.
I used to go to the gym. I would go downstairs and I would have a double espresso, especially the days when I was just tired because I didn't sleep well. And I got into having a double espresso. I never drank coffee. And they're like, why am I having a double espresso? I said, well, because I think it's giving me some energy. And I think it's giving me some, and I said, like, I don't want to drink double espressos all the time. And so I changed the habit. So I'd go downstairs, and the first couple of days I was like, nope, let's go for a little walk around the pool. So I just walked outside, went around the pool 2-3 times, and within 3-4 days, I haven't had a cup of coffee since the day I made the decision. So I just changed the behavior long enough to interrupt the pattern, and I haven't had a coffee in, I think, 6 months now. I am an all or nothing person, yes. And so if you feel like, grabbing a cigarette, all right? Do some writing instead. Interrupt the pattern, the behavior. If you do it for a week, then 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, you'll be able to interrupt the pattern long enough, okay? If you drink too much, and you go to the bar all the time, go to the library instead. Interrupt the pattern. Understand the cue. As soon as you feel the cue, interrupt the pattern, still get a great reward. All right? Donate $5 instead of spending money on something you don't need. If you see, you're not buying something or spending money to make you feel good. And then another way that I fulfill my highest values of contribution is this. I write, I share, I get in the community, I get on our Facebook fan page, and I just contribute. My thoughts, ideas, whatever I can contribute to the world.
Rule number 2 is unleash your full potential.
Every brain functionally works the same. And the reason, I teach about the neuroscience stuff is I got fascinated with the most powerful organism in the world, our biocomputer, the human brain, that we're not taught how to use. And yet we've put humans on the moon. We're trying to put humans on Mars now. We've solved some of the biggest problems in the world. We have many more problems to solve, and it's humans that are solving it. So that means that the potential within us is so great. And when we learn how to focus our attention on how we can and why we must, then we open up this phenomenal ability within every human being to achieve more of our potential. Now, not everybody's going to be, a mega success in their life, but I believe that everybody could be the best version of themselves so that they feel proud, based on what their passions are, what they love, and what they're here to do. Whether that's being an engineer or a homemaker or a garbage collector or an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. How do we use the gifts that we have, our brain and our skills and our extrovertedness or introvertedness, to become the best version of ourselves so that one person is proud of that? You, me. Then if we could be that bright light within our own lives, aren't other people going to see, wow, how did you do that? Like, what are you reading? What are you doing? Like, God, you got a sparkle. Like, I want that sparkle. That is the law of attraction at its very finest. Because when you're that sparkle of hope, the sparkle of possibility, and then you can somehow use your life, your knowledge, your love, your light in a way that impacts another human being, then that's addictive. That's the killer app.
Rule number 3 is create a vision board.
A lot of people ask me if I still use a vision board like I showed in the smash hit movie The Secret, and the answer is I do, but it's slightly different than the one I used to have. I am sitting here in Port Andrax in Mallorca, Spain, and this is a little bit of what's been on my vision board in the last several years. And if you take a look at this area, it's one of the most beautiful little paradise islands anywhere in the world, surrounded by the Mediterranean. Now, why am I showing you that? Well, this is my Exceptional Life Blueprint, and in this Exceptional Life Blueprint I have pictures of let me just move the camera a little bit, my wife, my kids, my family, and I have pictures of things that I've already achieved, and homes that we've either owned, jets that we've flown, places that we've vacationed, cars that either I want to have or I want to, or that I do have. And experiences that I want to enjoy. We rented this in Maldives last year. We have a home in Colorado over here. This was in Bali. I'm sorry, in the South Pacific Islands of Bora Bora. We've rented yachts. We've been in the most beautiful places. Now, why am I sharing this with you? You think I'm trying to impress you? And the answer is I'm not trying to impress you. I want to just show you something. I want to impress upon you something. First, you have to get a vision of what it is you want to trade your life for. And it's not about the cars and the houses and the trips. Like, what do you want to have your life feel like? What do you want to achieve in your health, wealth, relationship, career, business, contribution, charity, etc.? The reason it's so critical to start off with a vision, even when you do not know how to achieve it, and you probably know this, I left high school at grade 11. I was voted most likely to fail. English and math, I failed in grade 7. I didn't think I was smart enough, good enough, worthy enough. But I had a guy by the name of Alan Brown, my first mentor when I was 19, that asked me, like, what do you want to trade your life for? What would you like your life to be like? And he dared me to dream. And at the time I said, well, I'd love a 4-bedroom house. I'd love to get a job that I'm making more than $1.65 an hour, which is what I was making in a shipping department of Philips Electronics. And I was doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have been doing as a teenager. But he helped me create a vision first, even though it was a fantasy. It wasn't even a fantasy. It didn't even feel like it could be a fantasy because I didn't have any idea how to achieve it. And once I created my vision for health, wealth, relationships, career, business, fun, experiences, travel, etc., he said to me, what would you need to believe in order to achieve these things? And I said, well, I guess I would need to believe that I'm smart enough. He says, yes. He says, what else would you need to believe? I said, well, I guess I would need to believe that it's possible. He says, yes. He said, what else would you need to believe? I said, well, I guess I would need to believe that it's possible for me and that I'm worthy of it and that I deserve it. And I went on to list all of these beliefs. And he helped me with a few beliefs, I would need to believe and have the self-discipline. And then he went on to say, well, what would your identity need to be like? And I was like, identity? What do you mean? He says, well, everybody has character traits that they're abiding by right now. But in order to achieve, these big goals that you have, you'd have to have some new character traits. And he said things like self-confidence, things like certainty, things like feeling empowered, things like feeling you can overcome anything, things like knowing that you can learn anything to apply what is needed to achieve those goals. He says, in order to achieve the goals that you have, the vision that you wrote down on this, sheet of paper, which he gave me, you have to create the identity and the character traits to behave in those ways. You have to practice to make those permanent in your mind. So practice is what makes permanent. He says a lot of people are practicing the wrong things and they're making the wrong self-image permanent, the wrong identity permanent, the wrong beliefs permanent, the wrong habits permanent. He says in order to achieve any goal you want to achieve, you have to create the right patterns that drive the right behaviors that achieve the results you want.
Rule number 4 is be committed.
At 19, I was thinking to myself, yeah, right. One question is going to determine whether I achieve all these things. $3 million, retired 45, Mercedes-Benz, 4-bedroom house, travel the world, first class. And he leans in and he says to me, are you interested in achieving all these things? Or are you committed to achieving them? I said, am I interested? Am I committed? I said, sir, what's the difference? And he said to me, he said, son, he said, if you're interested, you'll allow your past to control your present. If you're interested, you'll allow your beliefs about yourself and your self-image to control your behaviors. If you're interested, you'll do what's easy and convenient. If you're interested, you won't do what's necessary to change. But if you are committed, you will upgrade your identity to match the new destiny you want.
Wow.
And he said, you will upgrade your beliefs, you'll upgrade your knowledge, you'll upgrade your skills, and you will change the habits that are keeping you stuck, repeating the same patterns, achieving the same results over and over and over again. I was like, wow, this makes sense. So he leans in again and goes, so, are you interested or are you committed to achieving these things? And Natasha, I can feel this like it was yesterday. I felt like something in my body, some surge, and I just said, well, I'm committed. And he reached out his hand, and he said, in that case, I will be your mentor. And I go, oh, what? Wow, thanks. What's a mentor? And he said, well, a mentor is somebody who will guide you, who will share with you what to do, why to do it, how to do it. They'll open doors for you. They'll introduce you to the right processes, systems, people. They'll give you and help you with a path. He said, a mentor is somebody, who will watch out for you and also share with you what you should stop doing. And I said, wow, that's great. That day, one man, one lunch, one question, one answer. Changed my life.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is believe.
By the way, this happened literally 42 years ago when I was 19. I'm 61 now. And every day he had me reading my vision for what I wanted. I didn't even have pictures back then. I would just read my vision for health, wealth, relationships, career, business. I would read the beliefs that I needed. And I would say, I'm so happy and grateful for the fact that, okay, I have the self-discipline to achieve every one of my goals, even though at the time that was not true. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I didn't feel worthy enough. But I read it. And then he said, feel it, feel it. Pretend you're a Hollywood actor and feel that. Then see if you can see it in your mind's eye. He said, most people have the equation wrong. He says, they think that they will believe it when they see it. They think that they will believe it when they see it. He says, no. He says, you have to believe it in here first before you will see yourself achieving it out there and gaining the results. He says, first, you have to affirm it in your mind. You have to feel it in your heart. You have to act it out and practice it until it becomes a part of you. So today I call that inner size. You exercise to strengthen your muscles and your cardiovascular system, right? It makes sense. Well, what about inner-sizing your neuromuscles, your belief neuromuscles? What about your self-image neuromuscles, your self-confidence neuromuscles, your habitual neuromuscles? For 42 years, I have been inner-sizing, and I've created an entire body of work around inner size, strengthening the neuromuscles that I need to achieve every one of my goals and dreams.
Rule number 6 is prime your brain.
So I have my goals, I've got them laminated, and I've got them for health, wealth, relationships, career, business, and I've got them laminated, usually in my car, I've got them in my briefcase, I've got them in my office, I've got them in my home, and I cognitively prime my brain. Every day, I give my brain instruction, this is what I want you to focus on. This is the beliefs that I want you to have. These are the habits required to achieve this goal. And I get emotionally charged with that vision and that goal. And then let it go. If I've plugged in, tuned in, paid attention with the right intention, then I don't have to have any tension whatsoever to that. And if I've created my plan of what needs to be done, if you come to my home gym, you're going to see the goal. You're going to see a picture of the body that I want. You're going to see what the focus is for the month. You're going to see the strategic plan of what I'm doing every day. You're going to see my measurement of where I'm at in relationship to the goal. And you're going to see one thing that says the promise, or it says why.
Rule number 7 is develop awareness.
Awareness is what gives us choice, and choice is what actually gives you freedom. Let me explain. When you become aware of what you're procrastinating and why specifically are you procrastinating? Is it a fear? Is it because you don't have the knowledge or skills? Is it because you're afraid of being embarrassed or ashamed? Once you become aware of the root cause of the procrastination, when you are able to look at it from an objective perspective versus something happening within you, it allows you to make different choices. When we're in a state of fear, when we're in a state of anxiety or stress, or any type of disempowering state, chances are that we've activated our stress response. So even if it's an emotion we're trying to move away from, like being embarrassed or ashamed or ridiculed or judged, that state is a disempowering state. And what most people don't recognize is that when you're in that state, mental and emotional state, the motivational circuit in your brain basically just shuts off and you don't want to take action. Hence, you procrastinate. So when you increase your level of awareness where you can actually see what's causing you to procrastinate, that's when you can start making some choices.
Rule number 8 is overcome your fears.
What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on why you can't? Are you focusing on it's not the right time? Are you focusing on I don't have the time, the money, the energy, the knowledge, the skills? People aren't buying right now. Things are so bad. What if this happens? What if that happens? Oh my God, what if that happens? If you're in a state of fear, then your Einstein brain's turned off and your Frankenstein brain's turned on. And in a state of fear, you deactivate motivation, you deactivate behavior that is required to take action right now. So what you want to do is you have to master your mindset, right? You have to stop buying into the fear mongering on television and radio and so many other places. You have to focus on how you can achieve your financial goals and your business goals, because you must, and because you will, and because you deserve it.
Rule number 9 is practice the I am method.
Anytime you're finding that you procrastinate from today going forward, what I want you to do is I want you to stop, and I want you to take 6 deep breaths in through your nose slowly like this. And then I want you to breathe it out through your mouth like you're blowing out through a straw, even slower than when you were inhaling. So it would go like this. Now, why do you want to breathe in slowly and exhale slowly as you're breathing out through a straw? And the answer is because it deactivates the anxiety, the emotional center, the fear center of your brain. And when you deactivate that part of your brain, now you've opened up the circuits for awareness, for you to be able to take a look at a deeper level. Why am I procrastinating? Especially when you want to achieve those goals and dreams. So when you take those 6 deep breaths first, and then you do inner size number 2, which is called AYA, A-I-A. And AYA stands for awareness of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, and the procrastinating behavior. And when you do this exercise or inner size called AYA, you have to do it in a space of no blame, no shame, no guilt or justification. You're just becoming aware of your patterns. So awareness first, and then you ask yourself this question: what's one intention that I have? And so let's say your intention is to take action and really do what you need to be doing. Well, what is one action step, very, very tiny, small action step that you can actually take instead of the 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things that need to get done? So when you become aware, when you set the intention of what you want to do, and then you take action towards that goal, guess what happens? You interrupt the pattern of procrastination. You activate your self-confidence. You activate your certainty muscle. And more importantly, you're activating your take action muscle.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is start slow, finish fast.
Whenever we have all the reasons why we can't, and it's hard and I don't feel like it, I get it. Just do a little bit. Just do a little bit so you interrupt the pattern of familiarity.
Because the brain loves familiarity.
The brain loves familiarity. It is
so hard to brush your
wired.
teeth even.
It's wired to maintain familiarity and comfort zones.
Yes.
So every one of my private clients who invest a lot of money to work with me, I reduce the behaviors with them to the ridiculously, I don't care if you're $1 billion CEO, it doesn't make a difference. I reduce what I ask you to do initially, that's a change from your routine, to something you think, really? That's going to have an impact? And I get them to do it every single day. And they have to text me every single day.
Oh, that's so good.
Right?
Oh, that's
and by
so
day
good.
30, by day 50, they're like, wow, this is like so powerful. And then I add. Okay, so now that you've got the routine going, now let's add a little bit more. So here's something to consider from a brain perspective. Initially, the new habit, the creation of the new habit is more important than the intensity, duration, or complexity. Let me repeat. At the beginning, the new habit, the intensity, duration, and complexity are not relevant. The consistency is the most important element of it. So if I can get you to do something for 30 days, 6 days, 90 days, then chances are I can add stuff to it once I know that the habit is taking hold, and I can increase complexity. So listen, you're never going to juggle 6 balls unless you learn how to juggle 2.
Yeah.
You're never going to juggle 3 unless you juggle 2. You're never going to juggle 4 unless you juggle. So let's reduce the building blocks to the most simple, and then we can add and build. Now, you know what most people do? The exact opposite. They say they're gonna, get in shape, and they try to exercise for an hour a day and go on a diet and sleep 8 hours when they're used to, so much coffee, sleeping 3 hours. No, reduce it to the ridiculous. Start slow, finish fast.
That's it.
Don't start fast so you finish slow. Money is an idea. It's a means of exchange. It's abundant and everywhere. It's a tool and a resource.
And what money does is it gives you choices and options. And really what money is just another form of energy that's a means of exchange. It's an energetic exchange. So first and foremost, I want you to understand and think, there is no shortage of money. Money is everywhere. It's abundant. It is filling all space and time. So I want you to shift your thinking from there's not enough of it to there's an abundance of it. It's a means of exchange. And how do I create for myself more of it so that I could exchange more with other people for the things that I want to exchange it for? Does that make sense? Okay? Does that make sense? First and foremost is just understanding money at the highest level of being. So let me share something with you that all of the latest neuropsychologists and neuroscientists are reading. And as you know, if money is a concept, if money is an idea, if money is energy, then it's something's happening in here that's helping you either resonate with it or repel it. But if money is a means of exchange, I want you to understand something. First and foremost, your boss does not pay you. The company you work for does not pay you. You get paid in direct proportion to the value you bring to the marketplace in exchange for money. Let me repeat that. Your boss doesn't pay you, your company doesn't pay you. You get paid in the marketplace based on the value that you bring to the marketplace. The more rare you are, the more you can charge. The more knowledge, skill, and expertise that you bring to the marketplace, the more you can earn and make. So if you have a business, you better get good at marketing and sales. If you have a job, you better become outstanding so that you can command the highest amount of money for what it is that you do. But you can also learn how to take money and put money to work for you.
Do you know what every successful business figures out that unsuccessful business owners do not? The answer is this: leads and conversions. Let me explain. Every single business that stays in business and actually has the ability to scale and create predictable, consistent cash flow and profits has a way or two to generate a consistent flow of leads that either comes into their store, comes to their website, or just a way to make the phone ring. And every single business that I know of that succeeds and scales also has what I call our irresistible offers, which means that when people enter your orbit, they actually make a decision to buy from you. And in order to do that, there are several things that you need to have. Number one is you need to have a way, either online or offline, to attract qualified buyers. Do you have that? Because if you don't, it may make sense for you to invest a little bit of time figuring out how can I create predictability in my business. And every single business that I have built, which is 5 multi-million-dollar businesses, and every single business that I have helped, which is over 10,000 businesses now, we work on one primary thing first, and that is lead generation, where we can find qualified leads, and then lead conversion, where we can create the greatest number of sales from the leads that come in. And in order to do that, you have to ask yourself a few questions, like, how is my product or service different than my competition's? Why should somebody buy my product or service instead of any other one online? And in order to answer that question, you should ask yourself, how can I make my product or service stand out so that I'm not competing with everybody else, but I have something that people want? And the first step to that is to get people to like you and trust you. And the way you do that is you create videos, maybe like this one. You create articles, blogs, you create infographics as a way to build a tribe, to build a following that causes people to say, hey, for that product or service that you are selling, that company, that person is my go-to person, and that is how you build your brand.
And so when you are looking to create consistent cash flow, you have to understand that inconsistent cash flow is an effect of inconsistent lead generation and inconsistent lead conversion. Does that make sense? If you, as a CEO, focus on those things, here's what I can promise you. You will end up generating more income, you'll generate more profits, and more importantly, you'll be able to scale your business. When I was younger, I really wanted to work hard and long hours because I thought that's what it was going to take to be successful and make a lot of money. And when I was younger, and a lot of people don't know this, I ended up with severe ulcers in my colon. And I was sick for about a year and a half, and I got so sick that I was taking 25, they were called Salazapine pills a day to reduce the inflammation. I had to do, and this is very embarrassing, I had to do an enema every morning and every night. It was a cortisone enema. And then every month I had to go to the doctor to have a tube stuck up my you-know-what to see how I was doing. And it wasn't really doing well for a year and a half, to the point where they thought they were going to take out my colon, or part of my colon. I was like 22 years old. Who the has their colon taken out at 22? And they said if it doesn't get better, because it was stress related, by the way, then they'd probably have to take out my colon, part of my colon, and it would never be the same again. So once I learned how to exercise, eat well, meditate, visualize, see myself being healthy, and taking time to rest. I remember one of my mentors, coaches, so to speak, in business, he said to me, he says, if you had $1 billion horse, you wouldn't put her in a race every day, would you? As well, you're working 7 days a week, 50 hours, 60 hours, 70 hours. And he wasn't like, a real coach, so to speak, but he was somebody who was managing the office. And so once I started to focus on my mindset, the visualization, the affirmations that I love to teach about, the meditation, the mindfulness, I was doing this, 39 years ago to get healthy, and my colitis went away, and I haven't stopped ever since. So take more time off to rest, to unfocus is really what it's all about, to give yourself a chance to replenish. When we have negative self-talk, when we have negative thoughts, emotions, and even behaviors, there's nothing wrong with having negative self-talk, because your brain and my brain, is repeating patterns that you have become conditioned to have, and then it's conserving energy. All right, it's conserving energy to maintain those patterns as part of its homeostasis desire, right? To maintain homeostasis, a comfort zone. Can you be in a negative or disempowered state or comfort zone, even though you have potential to achieve even more? So here is something I'd like you to consider doing. All right, you want to become a better operator? Here's a little daily practice, okay? Take your mobile phone, and every hour for 3 minutes, would it be worth it for you to invest 15 to 30 minutes a day, to train your brain to work for you instead of work against you? Would it be worth it for you? Because if you want to learn how to take better control of your brain, which you already own, you don't have to pay anybody for it. Okay, our creator gave us an amazing brain, billions of years of evolution. What if every hour for 3 minutes you stopped, and the first thing you did was you took 6 deep breaths? I call it take 6, calm the circuits, to recalibrate both hemispheres of your brain, get that corpus callosum in between to communicate, deactivate your stress, fear, worry, anxiety, doubt centers in your brain. And what if you just did 6 deep breaths? This is basic kindergarten level stuff. Slowly in through your nose. Deep, deep, deep breath. And then slowly out of your mouth, like you're breathing out through a straw. Doing that 6 times slowly deactivates and recalibrates your brain so it's ready for what I call as inner size number 2. And inner size number 2 is called AYA, A-I-A. Many of you know this, right? Many of you know this. And it's called AYA. It's awareness, intention, action. So awareness of, in the last, let's say 30 minutes, awareness, what have my thoughts been in the last 30 minutes? Are they constructive or destructive? Empowering me or disempowering me? Moving me towards my goal or away from my goals? Have I been procrastinating or taking inspired action? If we can become aware of patterns, is it easier to change a pattern that I'm aware of? It doesn't matter if it's a positive or negative, constructive or destructive, as I said before. The first part of taking control of your life is mental and emotional regulation. Mental and emotional regulation that gives rise to feelings.
We know up until about 20 years ago, scientists believed that we were hardwired. So we were born, we had certain genetic propensities. You're like your mother, like your father, like your grandparents, and then you became a little bit like you as a combination of both of those and your experiences. Well, the science was wrong, right? We just have learned a lot more in the last 20 years than we've known in the last 480 since we began science. And so the science of neuroplasticity shows us that we're consistently creating new connections. But to leave it at that is not very useful. So the question is, like, so what, right? So what's a new connection? Like, what's the big deal? And think about this. What baby was ever born with any beliefs? None. What baby was born with any habits? None. What baby was born with any prejudices at all, or racist, ideas? None. What baby was born with any perspectives or paradigms or habits? None. And so what happens is a baby is born with about 100 billion cells. So think about 100 billion cells like you would 100 billion marbles. And every time,
a lot of marbles.
Yeah, it's a lot of marbles, right? That's why you lose your marbles. So every time the baby heard something, saw something, felt something, experienced something, these marbles made connections in their brain. And that's called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to create new connections. And it's doing that every second of every day. And by the time we're, 3-4 years old, we've gotten a lot of these neural connections, these beliefs and habits and perspectives from our caregivers, our parents, our brothers or sisters, how they treat us, how we feel. And so we develop these connections, from 0 to 3-4, the imprinting years, and then we have the modeling years where we're modeling our parents from, 2.5, 3 to 5, 6, 7, where we're dressing like them and trying to put on their makeup, which I did too. And so we're modeling now, and then we have our experiential years where we gain some of our own experiences, and we are creating these new connections in our brain that become our map of the world. Here's how the world works. White people are this, black people are that. When I put my finger in this socket, it feels really bad, so don't do it more than once. When I eat this, I like it, and when I see this, I laugh, and when I do this, it hurts. And so we develop this model of the world, and we develop our beliefs about money, about relationships, about career, about travel, about food. We develop all of this stuff, by the millions and millions and millions of connections every hour. And then it slows down after we're about 10 or 12 years old. So we have this map, this road map of reality. And based on our parents and caregivers and grandparents and teachers and television and whatever we experienced, some of that map is accurate, and some of that map is not. Some of those beliefs are accurate, some of them are not. Some of the habits we developed are constructive, and some are destructive.
Yep.
Right? But from a neuroscience perspective, they're nothing more than just connections between one marble or another. Now, here's the good news, great news actually. We can deliberately create our own connections now, because we know that this science of neuroplasticity says that if we take, let's say, an affirmation, I'm so happy and grateful that I am more and more confident each and every day. So it may not sound real initially when you say that, But that's because you've said it one time and the connection is weak. But if you said that 100 times or 500 times or 1,000 times, and then you felt it, and then you went out and did a couple little things to give you some confidence. Let's say you're shy, and you just went to, I don't know, a coffee shop, and you just smiled at somebody and nodded to them. Didn't have to say a word, just smiled and nodded, and then smiled and nodded back, and you go, oh, wow, that didn't hurt. They didn't hurt me. They didn't say anything bad about me. They didn't embarrass me. They didn't try to shame me. They didn't try to make me feel guilty. And if you did that enough for a day, a week, a month, 3 months, all of a sudden you'd be inner-sizing your self-confidence muscle. And the shyness starts to go away a little bit at first. And then it's like, wow, this isn't a dangerous place.
Have you ever considered that imagination, creativity, logic, focus, concentration, self-esteem, self-worth, tenacity, resolve, have you ever considered that those are neuromuscles? We have biceps, triceps, shoulders, chest, buttocks, muscles for your physical body. Have you ever considered that you have neuromuscles? Have you ever considered that creativity is a neuromuscle that you can utilize? Let's say you have something that you want to do, a project you want to finish, a book you want to write, a business you want to start, a girl you want to call or walk across the room, or a guy. You want to achieve a goal, okay? So if you imagine that when you set your goal, you're activating the left prefrontal cortex, which I like to call is the Einstein part of the brain, the part of your brain that can say, what can I imagine? Well, I can imagine myself achieving that goal. I can imagine myself making more money and living the lifestyle of my dreams. I can imagine fill in the blank. So you set the goal. So part one in the brain is setting of the goal, having that vision for what you want.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome.
For 10 more amazing rules from Ray Dalio, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Whenever there's conflict, I recommend that you go to a higher level, one level up, with the person that you're having the conflict with, and look and come up with an agreement of how you should be with each other.